be putting this up on our rewards TV and attaching an award to it. But again, that's our suspect, and we will need the community's help in identifying exactly who he is. The detectives continue to work that case. The next incident is an arson arrest at 19,300 block of West 7 Mile. This was just great work with Detroit Police and Detroit Fire Arson. Again, the officers and the investigators continue to even impress this executive team with some of the hard work that we have seen. I will let you bring up the video. This is just unconscionable on the part of the suspect. As you can see, he's pouring gas. He had some type of confrontation, verbal altercation with the cashier. He has a gas can or a garbage can full of gas. He dumps it in. He brings that blowtorch you see. He lights it on fire. The part that we are not showing you is the victim who was set on fire, who ran through that. I have decided that that would not be appropriate to share publicly. It is a horrific video. He did, in fact, survive, but it just didn't, we didn't think it was necessary to show that to the community. But we will share it with you all in the media so that you can at least convey what you saw in your report, just how horrific that was. At this time, I'm going to ask the fire commissioner to come on up and introduce yourself. You can just introduce yourself.
Yes. Charles Sims, Executive Fire Commissioner, City of Detroit Fire Department.
And again, if you want to run that again, and as you can see, he comes in. We don't know where the verbal altercation occurs. He dumps the gasoline onto the floor. He yells out something to the employee. The employee is expected to recover from his injuries, but as you can imagine, just unbelievable what he's going through. The good news is, as I indicated, Detroit Fire, Detroit Police, the arson team, this suspect was arrested shortly after this incident, and the victim is expected to recover. The officers are doing great work. We will continue to pursue those who are victimizing our community, just senseless violence and gun usage and the circumstances that are very difficult to even understand. We continue to work with the U.S. Attorney's Office with the One Detroit Initiative, taking these cases that are occurring in the 8th and 9th Precinct federally, and the officers are committed to continuing to do very, very good work for our community. With that, I will take any questions that you may have.
Hey, Chief Ryan Marshall. Hey, Chief Ryan Marshall at WWJ News Radio 950. I'm wondering, about a month or so ago, you guys had federal agents that said that they were going to flood some hot zones within the city, and I just wanted to know, were these crimes within those hot zones, and is that something that you guys are looking at to try to alleviate, or if it's not, what other parts of the city were those crimes in that may not have been in those hot zones?
Yeah, we took a look at those so-called hot zones, and some of the activities were, in fact, in those areas. Some were not. But when you talk about flooding a hot zone and looking for violent crime, you can't predict someone filling a gas or a garbage can up with gas and pouring it in a building. So there's no real policing exercise that can combat something that's unconscionable, right? I mean, it's just not something that we see. There's a lot to this case. The motives are totally unclear, but I think we know that this person was not dealing with, their normal state of cognition. I mean, there's something going on with that person. So I don't think that if it were in the zone that this would have been combated at all. However, those areas that we can impact, we do. We've gotten over 2,000 illegal weapons off the street since January 1st. The officers are working very hard. And we're seeing, some numbers that are actually going down, carjackings, and believe it or not, our non-fatal shootings. Our homicides are pretty much even as they were last year this time. So the strategy and the plan is working. Unfortunately, you've got people who are eager to make horrible decisions. You've got just a tremendous number of guns in the wrong hand. And this isn't about Second Amendment stuff. This is the wrong people having guns, whether they be felons, people who are unable to control their emotions, people who feel tougher because they've got a gun in their pocket. It's not the whole community, though. So you can't deploy strategy for the few that impacts the whole. What you have to do is be laser focused on those who are victimizing our community, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Andres Gutierrez with CBS News Detroit. Do you know if the suspect and victim in the fire there at the gas station knew each other, what the possible relationship there was between the two, and what charges is your department recommending to the prosecutor's office?
Well, they're still working on that. I mean, clearly, you've got arson with intent to kill, an attempted murder case. You don't even have to be a police officer to see that one. But there may be some other charges. We have to see exactly what the motive was. What drove this person to do that. And they're unpacking that part of the investigation right now. They just got the arrest within the past 24 hours, and the investigators and detectives are working through that. But it will be a number of charges towards him.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, Chief. Faraz from Channel 7. Would you be able to confirm if the suspect actually went in to ask for a gas tank, and when he was refused, he just lost it? Is that what is correct?
I can't confirm that.
All right. Is there an update to the downtown Detroit gas station?
Yeah, yes, there is. And again, two of them in 24 hours. The one that happened downtown, thank God that he was unable to ignite that vehicle. We were able, again, to get him into custody. He was in the area surveilling or watching the officers as they did their investigation, and a very good and in-tune detective saw him and was able to piece that together. But what happened with that case is inexplicable as well. A vehicle that was filled with accelerants in front of the gas station. He attempted to light it on fire once, and then he came back for a second time and was unsuccessful. Had it gone up, we may be having a very different discussion, but only by the grace of God that it did not. And we were able to get him into custody. And preliminarily, this is somebody who's dealing with some major emotional issues, and we're looking at all of that. But he's going to be facing some extremely serious charges.
And no connections to both the incidents?
Absolutely no connection. And that's the first thing we looked at, because it was so unusual to have two cases like this back to back. We are confident that there's zero connection with them. And we looked at everything. We wanted to make sure that this wasn't a target against gas stations. This wasn't a hate crime for Juneteenth. We looked at everything we could and everything that was available and things that weren't to try to correlate any logical reason that something like this happened, and it just wasn't there. So we think that coincidentally, two people made horrible decisions within 24 hours of each other, actually within 12 hours of each other, and thankfully no one was killed, and one person was certainly severely injured, but the one downtown could have been a lot worse, and we're very happy that everything worked in that, from our crime intelligence to our very good detectives to the very quality and good detectives at fire that works on fire arson, that we're not here talking about something much more tragic.
Two quick questions. We went down to the community at 7 Mile and we spoke to them. First of all, they're really happy with that there's been a result, and DPD arrived on time, and they made a difference, and so they're really happy about that. But some of the clerks are really concerned about their safety. One thing that they do bring up over and over again is response time. Is there anything DPD could do to improve that response time when it comes to responding to such emergencies?
Well, that's somewhat of an anecdotal question. I need to know a little bit more to get into the weeds of exactly. I look at our response time every day. This team lives data, and we look at response time to all crimes. all around town, not just in one part of town, all businesses, all homes. And we don't see anything that gives us pause or concern specifically with gas stations. I will say this, anytime you're open 24 hours, 7 days a week, and you're in a service business, you have a responsibility to help us in your business. And that responsibility goes beyond simply calling us, but to have the necessary security provisions. And I'm not pushing green light, but it's also and green light if you want that. But have your own security or your security tools to help us. Most times, the disputes that come out of gas stations are handled without incident. There's a tremendous number of stations in the city, and we talk about a handful. Unfortunately, though, those are usually some really, really big cases when they come up. And we'll continue to work with the businesses. We'll continue to work with the gas stations. We meet with some of those business owners who have established a business group, and we talk through the problems that come up. But it's a partnership.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Jessica Dupnack, Fox 2. Question for you on the weekend shootings. A lot of the victims were teens. Any message to the younger community kind of as we move through the summer?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same message that we talk about, and I appreciate you asking it because it's important to repeat. We want our young folks to have an opportunity. We want them to, to be the next Jessica Dupnack, the next chief of police, and, the next whatever they want to be. And unfortunately, guns and impulse decision-making and late hours outside and engaging, and what I will call high-risk behavior after hours leads to these really sad and tragic events. We don't want our young people scared. We want them to enjoy summer like we had the opportunity to. But the facts are what they are. I mean, you've got a lot of people who are making really bad decisions with guns. You've got people that become superhuman when they got a gun in their pocket. They can't have an argument. They can't have a fight. They get super tough, because they got a gun, and they don't really think about the responsibility that gun comes with. And then, unfortunately, oftentimes we find that the person that's been shot is not even the intended target of the person who's having the problem. So, enjoy your summer is a message. Be responsible. And at some point, parents, the party has to end, right? I mean, at some point, we got to end the party. It can't go till 3 and 4 and 5 every night. Let's have another party another day. Let's wrap it up at a reasonable hour, and know where our young people are and help them out. And they're not unlike any other young people at our time of being young. They make mistakes, but unfortunately, for them, their mistakes are leading to death and not giving the opportunity to live a fruitful life like we have been. And so it's really a sad and tragic event. We're going to continue to police these streets unapologetically, not going to apologize for getting gun-toting felons off the street. Going to continue to do it, but certainly our community and our families can help us.
Last one for me, and I know Faraz touched on it a little bit. Last couple of months, there's been some really high-profile cases on situations at gas stations.
Yeah.
What's your comment on that? I mean, it all seems to be over, something very silly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what this one was about, but I know we've had some incidents with, people stealing candy bars and things such as that. It's not worth it. I mean, we don't want people coming in and just, having open season on business owners and stealing their things, but there's a process for that. There's a police department. We can come out, we can talk to the business owners, we can make arrests, and we've made a number of arrests. We just don't talk about those, right? Because we're talking about the time we didn't. I mean, but every single day, the NPOs or the neighborhood police officers or the patrol officers are making these arrests and getting these folks off the street. But never should it rise to the level of a shooting over a property theft, right? I mean, that just doesn't make sense for anybody involved. We just want people to think these things through, call the police, and let us do our job.
Thank you all for coming.
All right, thank you. Thank you.